Hi, it's Dina Tollefson and welcome to my studio. So glad to have you here today. Today I'll be taking you through the step-by-step process of how I created this red-eyed tree frog as part of the Totally Awesome Challenge that I'm hosting. It's an art collaboration, a community art collaboration out on my channel. And so part one, I laid in the underpainting, and part two, I'm adding in the Daubism texture. So this painting is 16 inches wide by 12 inches tall, and I'm using synthetic brushes to lay in this underpainting, working on his eye. And that white, the white marks that I placed across the canvas, that's the area, those are the areas that I'm reserving either as highlights or I'm going to be putting a lighter color over the top. So when I toned my canvas, which means I completely covered my canvas with yellow ochre, that's that golden color. When doing that, there's some colors that are a little bit more transparent, like yellow and even ultramarine blue. And when you layer those, they can get darkened. So if you put white underneath, that really makes that particular area pop out. So mixing up a little bit of phthalo blue red shade and some titanium white. And now some diarrhea yellow on his feet. I put a little bit of the Pyrrole orange on and discovered it was a little too bright. So by adding some of the yellow ochre, it's able to tone it down a little bit. There we go. Now adding dioxazine purple. This dioxazine purple is what was used for the shadow of our little frog. And adding that in with the other colors creates a color harmony across the canvas. And just reestablishing the curve of his eye. And the lightest area of Mr. Frog. His mouth. Going also with a soft filbert brush to lightly blend that in. I want to avoid over blending. I like if my strokes are showing. I feel like it gives a little bit more spontaneous and painterly look. So I try not to overblend. Adding the blue highlight that I see on his flank. And now upping some of the highlights. So originally I was planning to put Mr. Frog on a green leaf, and I decided instead I liked how he looked on the toned canvas. So now it's time to do the oil painting part, laying out all my different colors. I'm using Royal Talons Cobra and Winsor & Newton, the Artisan brand, and then Lucas Berlin, their Cinnabar Green Light. I'll show you that in a little bit, but those three brands are what I'm using. Those are all water mixable or water minceable paints, which means that you can use soap and water to clean them up, and you don't require any kind of solvents or anything in your work, which I really appreciate. So I made a little mistake here. I went too far, just taking some clean water and just wiping that back off with the brush, and nobody will know. Using the spoon, I have the spoon reserved just for painting. And this is a technique called Daubism. So it's a technique I developed in the year 2000. This Lucas Berlin Cinnabar Green Light, the reason I love this color is I am really fascinated and feel like my work is very influenced by Van Gogh, and he had bought paint from the Lucas Company. It's a German company, and now he bought the traditional. This is now the water mixable version, but he had written to his brother Theo. He would write to his brother a lot and said that he was just loving this color Cinnabar green light. And so I use that color quite a bit whenever I can in my work. The other thing that's kind of neat is that when Van Gogh I'm influenced by not only his color scheme, but I'm also influenced by the way he could use texture. So I'm applying my texture in raised marks, raised daubs that sit and reflect light off the top of the canvas. What Van Gogh did was he would drag his paintbrush through his paint and create these tunnels and alleys through his work that would create a sense of movement. And I just adore that about his work. So whenever possible, I try and also include a sense of movement in my work. And switching to a smaller, I've used the spoon, now switching to a long, narrow, this is a painting knife. People use the term interchangeably palette knife, but technically a painting knife has got a little hook on the end that keeps your fingers off of the paint. Adding a little bit of yellow and mixing that up to get some highlight areas on Mr. Frog. I hope that you've had a chance to like and subscribe on my channel. I really appreciate that you guys are here, and it's really wonderful. I also hope that you'll be able to participate in the community art challenges that I do on my channel. And anybody and everyone is welcome, and all art styles. You just have to follow the prompt and then put the hashtag, the proper hashtag, in your title. And so this is the Totally Awesome Challenge. If you go out to my playlist, you can see all the other participants, and we've had over 40 people participate in this particular challenge, which is great. And what you need to do is make a frog or a toad in your own style. And it was amazing to me to see, oh my goodness, to see the huge variety of what all the different artists came up with. So I'll be watching for the next challenges coming up. I also want to take a moment to thank all of the all of your supporters who have contributed to my PayPal, and also have used my Amazon list. I've got both of those listed in the description, but my Amazon store, an Amazon influencer, which means that I'll pick products that I think are great, and I have them in a list, and you can actually order them right off of Amazon, and it's no additional cost to you. But for all of you who have been purchasing off of that, I thank you, and it enables me to continue doing these tutorials for free on my channel, and I really appreciate all of the support that you all have shown. So just a little bit of gray, and I feel like that little dot there's a little too light. I'm going to add a little darker color. There we go. Not wanting anything to stick out too much. So do you like painting frogs and toads? If you're like me, you do. And you enjoy working with color. Now mixing up a variety of blues that we can add to the frog. So now I'm turning my attention to the, and just as I mix a color, I'm putting a little dab of it up onto the canvas to check it. But what I want to do is I want to get a variety of gold colors and have some of them tip more towards the gray color, or towards the gray side or green side, and some of them more towards the yellow side, and create a pattern here using the spoon and the painting knives and create a sense of movement. So the toned underpainting, I created that using a really large 3-inch paintbrush, and I like really the sense of movement that the underpainting has. So I'm kind of following that and following these feelings to give the feeling that our frog is very alive and he's very vibrant. So coming in with the lightest color, working on this feeling of kind of an explosion of movement or a feeling of tension on the canvas where the frog is poised to move. Trying to capture that in the canvas. So starting out with all the larger marks that are made with the spoon, one spoon can make a variety of like large and small sizes, but now to balance it, coming back in with that narrow painting knife and adding a contrast of mark sizes to create interest. So we've got like a topographical, a three-dimensional sense on top of the canvas. I feel like I've done my job if you want to reach out and touch it. And also using that small tool to fill in and to still follow the direction that was established with these larger marks. The sense of energy radiating out. There we go. And a mark here. When I was working on this painting, it was important to me that I didn't use too many different colors on the frog. I wanted to kind of stay true to the underpainting, so the daubs on top, I tried to stay pretty close to the color and value that was in the underpainting. Sometimes when I'm doing my daubism technique, I'll kind of go crazy and have a confetti effect with different colors, but here I wanted to keep it more zen. Sometimes if you turn your canvas, it's easier to work. When I'm doing a painting, oftentimes I'll have the painting upside down or turned to its side, trying to get a sense of balance on all the different quadrants of the painting. That's a little trick, is if you physically actually move your canvas, then you can see where you need to balance out your work. Well, I thank you for being here today, and I hope that you'll come back again to the studio. So until next time, this is Dina Tollefson. All my best to you. Bye-bye.